Hello again everybody, so today we're gonna make cotoletta alla milanese. Right, so I'm gonna start exactly with the name to explain this dish. Cotoletta. Cotoletta actually comes from costoletta, and costola is rib. So costoletta or cotoletta, then, you know, with the process of it all, is a cut of veal that has a piece of rib attached to it. So the ingredients we're going to use today are veal, and I know that you will probably know it done with chicken, because it's, in the majority of time, all over the world, a chicken cutlet, or, you know, a breaded chicken is generally a lot more famous, you know, a lot more known. Whereas in Italy, it gets done with veal. And veal is the meat you would use in the original recipe. So this dish actually, you know, you could say, obviously it's Italian, but it was introduced by the Austrians to Milan. So yeah, you make your mind up with that. Veal is going to be our meat that we're going to use today. We're going to season that with salt and pepper as always. Then we've got some plain flour, a beaten eggs mix, some breadcrumbs, a little bit of grana padano cheese, and some butter, which is what we're going to use to cook it with. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to season our cuts of veal. So generous enough with salt. I'll go ahead with a bit of black pepper, press this down, and then onto the other side. Okay, so now that I've seasoned my steak, I'm gonna put it aside and I'm gonna move on to this little secret that I'm gonna give you. In order to make this breaded piece of meat even nicer, what we're gonna do is we're gonna add some grana padano cheese to our breadcrumbs. We're gonna mix it through so that not only the breadcrumbs will caramelize as we go and fry this, but the grana padano cheese will too. And so the color is gonna be a lot browner and a lot more caramelized and, you know, nice and golden, which is what you want. And it's also gonna be crispier. And you're gonna have that sort of, you know, crispy cheese flavor coming through as well. Once we've done that, we'll get set on our flour, eggs, and breadcrumb mix. So we're gonna get our veal, place it in the flour, and coat it nicely all the way. Okay. So once that's done, lift it up, shake it gently to get the excess flour out, and go and put it in your egg mix. And now coat it all the way through, one side onto the other, get some coating on the bone as well. Once it's coated all the way through, we're gonna lift it up again and let that excess egg just sort of, you know, drip off of it. And then onto our breadcrumbs. Yeah, again, same exact thing, nicely coated all the way through. So I'm just moving it on the plate, to one side, to the other, have a good check. And once it's done, same thing, shake the excess crumb off and place it on your board to rest for a little minute. So now we're ready to cook our cutlet. So I've got my pan on medium to high heat, and I'm gonna put a good knob of butter inside. Yeah. Now I'm also gonna add a little bit of vegetable oil and get my cutlet straight inside. Okay, so I'm just turning my steak around so that it cooks evenly all the way through. Yeah, and now I've had it on for about a minute now. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna turn it on its other side. Yeah, and we can see here the color is absolutely perfect. This is exactly how you want it. It's a nice golden brown colors, and you can see that the grana padano cheese has done its work. Okay, so as this is cooking, I'm gonna add a bit more butter, because what happens is our breadcrumbs will absorb all of the fat as it's cooking, and you want this to be not exactly deep frying, but you want a good amount of fat inside it. Yeah, so actually what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna add a tiny bit more, and as it's cooking, this excess fat I'm gonna baste my cutlet with this excess fat, yeah? So that it's nice and lucid on the top as well, and it's not cooking only on the one side. Okay, so just have a little feel of your steak. You want this to be quite rare, because veal is a very young cow, very young beef, and it's best eaten really rare, because it's a very young animal. So you just want to keep all the proteins and have it as underdone as you can, yeah? So I've just turned it again on the other side to see if this is pretty good. And what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna keep it cooking on the side of the bone for a little minute. Now that this is done, I'm gonna grab my steak, I'm gonna put it on my board just to rest for a little minute. My cutlet has been resting now for around a minute. You don't wanna let it rest too long, because it's gonna become cold and we're not gonna cook it again. This is it, this is done. You still wanna allow enough time for your meat to rest in order for it to become more tender. So I'm gonna present it to you like this, because the traditional recipe or the traditional way to serve this is to serve it whole. Generally, you will have it with a few roast potatoes or maybe some mashed potatoes as well, if you like. But also what I'm gonna do, so I'm just gonna show you this plate like this, but I'm also gonna cut it because I wanna show you the inside of it. So I'm gonna grab my steak here again. I'm just going to cut a few slices. Let's get it back on the plate. And you can see it's lovely and juicy in the inside, but really nice and crispy on the outside. And trust me, that little touch of grana padano cheese is gonna make your cotoletta alla milanese absolutely wonderful. So I'm showing you this here again. This is our cotoletta alla milanese from Italy.